Hello everyone, this is Joanna. Thank you so much for coming back. These are going to be your messages for the month of February 2019. Happy Valentine's Day for those of you who are celebrating. Very interesting energies. Majority of the signs, if not everyone that I've done, has had a lot of information about how to heal our hearts. And my intention is, as always, and I will repeat this again, my intention is to help you see certain things perhaps that you were not able to see before, and to help you perhaps recognize certain thought patterns. My passion is to help you think differently about yourself so that you can align yourself more in terms of abundance. So what a beautiful time to talk about healing our hearts, because February, traditionally speaking, is considered to be the month of love, at least in North America. So there's a lot of information on what might be tripping you up, how you are holding yourself hostage, what makes you stuck in your own inner prison, and what are some of the things that you can do in order to shift and change that, in order to attract love, abundance, prosperity, health, whatever it may be. So in some of the signs, there were exercises that were given to you from spirit, so you might want to listen to the other signs. At the end of the day, keep in mind that we all have attributes of all the signs. So if you're drawn to a certain sign that you're not necessarily one, just listen to your intuition and see if there's anything you can gain from there. At the end of the day, my aim is to help and enlighten you in a way that allows you to become a much more empowered being. With that said, if there is anything that doesn't make sense to you when you listen to it, do listen to it again down the road. I always say these messages will make sense to high majority of you as time goes on. The messages that I give, or the information that comes through, is very much relating to everything that we all experience, human condition. So you may be drawn to a different sign that you're not necessarily listening to, but something inside you says, hey, listen to it. You listen to it, and boom, that's your situation. Anyway, thank you so much for liking, for sharing, for subscribing. Do let me know how these messages connect with you. I am using a different camera this time, so some of the messages, you'll notice I'm switching between two different cameras. The angles are different on my camera, so sometimes I look in different places, and if that's the case, my apologies. I am not used to this this new equipment yet, so it may not be as smooth as I wanted to, so just bear with me. As time goes on, I will perfect it. Again, thank you so much. I wish you best of luck for, of course, for private sessions. For private sessions, that information is down below for you. And if you would like to see the longer projections for 6 months, that information is down below for you on Vimeo. Thank you again so much. My name is Joanna the Medium. I wish you a wonderful month of February, and let's get going. Hello, beautiful Aries. These are going to be your messages for the month of February 2019. I feel a lot of powerful energies with this sign. And whether it's your sun sign, your rising sign, or your moon sign, notice how this applies to you. What I feel, here's what I feel. I feel like I'm on a verge of a breakthrough. However, I also feel that whatever you have been struggling with isn't over quite just yet. Now, this is not to say that if you guys have been struggling with something, then the prediction is it will continue. For one, I don't predict. You predict your own future based on what you believe. But what I am saying here is that some of you who identify with whatever struggle this is for you, you're still in this space of needing to be there. Now, why would anybody want to be in a space of struggle? It makes no sense, right? None of this stuff makes sense when we look at it deeply. For example, if we have a lot of anger, which creates a lot of anguish, which creates a lot of lack experiences, and etc., etc. Sometimes our need to stay angry is greater than our need of not feeling angry. Now, that sounds weird, doesn't it? Like, why would we want to continue that? For one, it's a habit. In this example, if you feel angry about something in your life that happened a long time ago, and you carry that anger, you will notice that it creates certain circumstances in your life that when you look at it, you can see the predictability of it. In other words, you create the things you don't want. Usually you create the things you really don't want. So why would you want to be stuck in that rather than be in a space where you're free of it? Because you've done it for so long, you don't know how to do it any other way. That particular feeling creates certain chemicals in your body that says, hey, my name is so-and-so, I wake up in the morning and this is my day. In other words, this is your status quo. Now, it's not that you're angry all the time and you are creating this consciously, but when you guys examine your circumstances, you may know what, you'll figure this out. Point is, the desire to stay angry then is bigger than desire to not be angry, because it's rooted in the fact that you know what to expect. You're in this cycle to be angry, and that keeps you going. You get to complain. You get to be angry at people. You get to be angry at yourself. You get to be in this never changing, self-punishing cycle. Oftentimes, getting ourselves out of it is difficult because A, we don't know how to be any other way, but number two, we actually rely on that to be there for us. It's a really interesting dynamic. Why am I picking anger? I'm not saying you guys are angry. Don't misunderstand me. I'm talking about unresolved anger towards self or towards another person. If you have been wronged, which all of us have, no exception, but if you harbor anger towards something that happened or didn't happen, unless you let go of the need to stay angry, which gives you a whole bunch of other benefits, you get to complain for one, unless you let go of that anger, it's going to be very challenging for you to experience the freedom that you are after. Now, if you are not after freedom, you're after something that eventually symbolizes an emotional freedom to you. So you could be after love, you could be after money, you could be after relationships, you could be after abundance, you could be after good health, you could be after many things that represent to you the positive and the fulfilling. However, if your underlying component attached to it, the emotion, is one of anger, resentment, bitterness, and so on, then the very thing that you're trying to create is going to be very hard for you to come by because you're actually repelling it. It's a different vibration. And I feel like some of you are consistently participating in the actioning of lack. Explain to them what I mean. Okay, so let's say you're in a job that you don't like, and you come home every day and you complain about how terrible it is. Job, relationship, you name it, right? And you listen to the news, which tells you how terrible it is, how people are being used, how the government uses and abuses. Not that it's not happening, that's not what I'm saying. But you are continually listening to things that keep confirming to you that you are a victim. Yet you're not really doing anything about it. You're just creating more of the same feeling. If you keep on participating in such behaviors that continually feed to you the idea of lack, or that world is a terrible place, or that, you know, people always get taken advantage of, or people lie, or whatever it is that you tell yourself, if you keep on participating in that belief by actioning, by doing things in your life that feed that emotion to you, then you will be stuck in a rut forever. So notice the things that you do, things that you participate in, that keep on creating the same feeling of unfulfillment, undeservingness, lack, negativity, complaining, gossip, any low vibrating frequency or energy that stems from our thoughts and our beliefs and our continual, perpetual behaviors. You need to sit down and be very honest with yourself. Sometimes it feels good to be mad, and that's just the way it is. Feeling mad is not anything bad. It's how long we're there, what it gives us, how long we stay there, how long to continue to stay there, and when do we choose to move on from it. So no feeling or emotion is good or bad. It simply is. It tells us where we are at any given place. But if we are stuck on a low vibrating emotion, like negativity, and we continue to do things to perpetuate that feeling, then we are the only one to be blamed. Now, I'm not saying go blame yourself. That is not what I want you to do. I'm just trying to position it in such a way to show you that you, in fact, are a very powerful being, and the experiences that you are surrounding yourself with, especially ones that don't feel good, and they're around you a lot of the time, you are one of the ingredients that creates this reality. And perhaps you're stubborn, perhaps you just haven't had enough, or perhaps it's just something that you're so used to doing, you don't even realize you're doing it. Point is that over the next little while, and you're no different than other signs, this is all about healing our heart and healing our emotions and getting ourselves out of our self-imprisonment. In a very near future, over the next few months, you will be faced with opportunities to let go of this perpetual cycle. Does that mean that something bad is going to happen? Not at all. It simply means you're going to come to a point of realization that whatever you are experiencing, you've had enough. And sometimes it takes us to get to the point where there's nowhere to go further, and the proverbial fork in the road is in front of us, and we have to choose and decide. So that may be for some of you. I'm not saying something bad is going to happen, not at all. But life is full of changes, and change happens all the time. We are in a time of a lot of changes, energetically speaking, at least. So it is only natural that over the next few months, there will be some changes, for some of you, substantial changes, that will allow you to start fresh or start new. That also means that before that happens, you need to let go of or release yourself of things that are currently preventing you from whatever that is for you that you want to experience. So if you are wanting to experience love, let's talk about love because it is February, and you are constantly experiencing lack of love, then you need to ask yourself this question: what is it inside of me that is continually attracting lack of love? And it's not enough to say, well, this is what happens to me. What happens to you is your own creation. No, I'm not saying that If you are in a terrible abusive relationship, you've created it. I'm not saying that. Though there is some big truth to it, but I don't want to go into it right now because I think you guys know what that means. I'm talking bigger things. Point is, when we continue to be in situations that are obviously not comfortable, and we keep on staying in that, we are willingly participating in it. And yes, I know there are people out there who go to job and they hate it because they need to make money, so they stay. But if that is the case for some of you, then you have a corresponding belief system that says that is your truth. And if that is your truth, you will hang on to it. So I feel like some of you are hanging on to things that are not producing the results that you want. Perhaps because it's, you know, it's what you've done forever and it's just the way it is, and this is kind of your identity. If that's the case, allow yourself to ask this question. Is this the identity I choose to cling on to? If you're someone who constantly complains, ask yourself the question, what does complaining give me? If you're someone who constantly blames other people, ask yourself, what is blaming others give me? Gives you something, otherwise you wouldn't participate in the exchange, energetic exchange. If you are constantly someone who thinks you are someone people are going to bypass or not take seriously, and you keep telling this yourself, ask yourself, what does this belief give me? Because underneath everything that we do, there is something we get out of it on a certain level. Majority of people that I talk to have no awareness of that. That's why it's called subconscious belief system. But we have all this deep wiring, all these deep emotional connections that we derive certain things from. Some of these things are things we logically make no sense to us. Point is, as an example, if you're someone who is complaining a lot, this is not a blame, by the way. This is only for self-realization. But if you like to complain, ask yourself, what does it give me? Does it give you satisfaction? What kind of satisfaction does it give you? Does it give you the satisfaction that you're not alone and there's other people that feel not as good as you? Okay, so you are one of many. Do you choose to stay there? Is this your choice? Is this what you choose to create? If the answer is no, then you have to stop actioning that belief. Stop watching news, particularly when it's always about terrible things. Stop gossiping, stop complaining, stop looking at the things that are always wrong and start looking at the things that are actually right in your life. That is what begins to shift your awareness from focusing on lack to focusing on abundance. And whatever it is that we focus on, there is an underlying emotional component. I've said this before in other signs. Thought is like a spark. Emotion is very magnetic. When we think about the things that are good in our life, it produces a calm, happy, good feeling. The more we feel that, the more that energy or frequency is emitted from us to the universe. The universe has no other option but to say, hey, like vibration, boom, here's a match. On the other hand, if you are always complaining, you are engaging in an activity that makes you feel, let's face it, shitty. Pardon my French. I speak French a lot. So if you continue to participate in that activity, you continue to emit the frequency of feeling shitty. That frequency eventually goes out to the universe, and the universe goes, yes, like vibration, boom, here's a matching experience. So you guys know how this works. I kind of made this funny that way, so perhaps you can laugh about it, because the moment you begin to laugh about it, you can become You can become a little bit lighter in your energy. So this is, I feel this is all about you shifting your focus. I kind of feel like I'm going to go all over the place, so please forgive me. I just feel that's kind of how I'm guided. So if you are after 10 of Cups, which is, what is 10 of Cups? It's abundance. It's happy family. It's the dog, it's the emotions, it's the kids, it's the home, it's the flowers, the beautiful weather, it's the money, it's everything that you could possibly want. If this is, if you look at the feet, if you look at the card here, the 10 of Cups, if you imagine yourself being in that vision, imagine what that would feel like. To me, it feels complete. It feels like I am complete inside. It feels like I am whole. It feels like I am not missing anything. It feels like my life is one of abundance. However, this does not mean that you have to have all these things in order to feel that. It simply means this is the feeling that you're after, and the vision represents the corresponding feeling or emotion. So if this is what you are after, this is the feeling you have to emit in order to experience the corresponding physical manifestation, right? It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward law of attraction. So this is what all of you are after. This is what all of us are after. We all want to feel whole and complete inside. Now, having said all this, notice, if this is what you want, notice where you are at in terms of relating to this. In other words, in relation to this level of happiness, where are you now? Let's say this is on a scale of 1 to 10, feeling emotionally completely satisfied and 0 being bleh. On a scale of 1 to 10, if this is 10, it is 10 of Cups. Where are you? What's your level of happiness? If you set 6, what would make up the remaining 4? What would you have to feel inside of you in order to, what would you have to do in terms of your emotions in order to feel 10? What would that look like in your understanding? What would that look like in terms of your physical reality? Always remember, your physical reality is an extension of your emotional vibration. So if your emotional vibration is rooted in complaining, it's rooted in being angry, it's rooted in being passive aggressive, it's rooted in being in believing that your people are always out there to get you, I guarantee you this is not what you'll get. I guarantee you that. That is what I will guarantee you, because you can't, those two vibrations are not a match. So what do we need to do in order to get to this space? Number 1, Page of Cups in reverse is about, I want to say lack of creativity, lack of emotional abundance, lack of emotional stability. This is what's being asked of you to let go of. Whatever this card represents in terms of tarot, that is not what I am referring to. This is intuitively what I'm getting from this card. This is what you need to let go of, or what you are leaving. If there are any emotional, if there are any inconsistencies, emotionally speaking, between what you feel on a regular basis about you versus that which you are trying to achieve, you are being asked to let go of whatever it is that you are attached to that was the originating event. Explain further. Let's say you have a tendency to think that you are not enough. One thing I always say to my clients, you're not born believing you're not enough. You learn through your experiences that you are not enough. We all learn that. It's just part of our human experience. So let's say in your early years, you have been communicated to that you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not tall enough, you're not blonde enough, you're not dark enough, your skin is too dark, your skin is too light. Whatever gazillion other things that we hear about ourselves on regular basis, we will eventually arrive at the notion that we are just not enough, and we will begin to shy away from truly being ourselves. It's pretty straightforward. We all have these things. We all have those experiences. However, if we hold on to these experiences, and those experiences are rooted in the idea of lack or not enoughness, we will begin to create our experiencing based on that truth or based on that belief. So you are being asked to observe, in comparison to this being your perfect vibration, contentment, happiness, abundance, harmony, balance. If this is your ideal and this is where you are, notice what person you would have to be in order to get from this point to this point. Now, I'm going to rephrase. When I say what person you have to be, that does not mean you have to change yourself. It simply means, what is it about yourself that you tell yourself on a regular basis that keeps you stuck in the idea of lack? Okay? Because as a being, you are everything. You are already all this. On a fundamental level, on a spiritual level, on a vibrational level, you are all like this. We're all like this. However, in this limited environment, in a physical environment, in our limited ability to perceive this about ourselves, we come to an understanding of the idea of who we are based on our experiences, which are also limited, and they're rooted in our earlier perceptions. So any inconsistencies of thoughts that you have about you and the world in comparison to that which you want to achieve, prosperity, love, whatever it may be, you're being asked to ask yourself this question: what is it that I need to be? Who is it that I need to be? Usually it's true, you being true to yourself, in order to create the magnificence that I am after. Now, because this is in a position that's leaving you, it feels like many of you are already working through this on some level. However, sounds like some of you are still holding on to things that emotionally don't serve you. So in this position, it is you leaving something behind, something that once was satisfactory or at least served a purpose, is now serving no longer. So you are choosing to take, you're choosing to move on to some other destination. In this position, it says that you are still continuing to hold on to something that is not served, something that emotionally no longer serves you. What might that be? Well, I have an answer. Emotional poverty. This is my card that says, whenever I see this, this is the idea of lack. This is the perpetual idea of never having enough. Okay? Now, this is an aspect of you. This is how you feel about yourself. This is how you feel about the world. This is how you feel about certain things in your life that are important. Perhaps this is what you feel about in general about everything. You come from a place of emotional lack, emotional poverty. In order for you to experience what you want, you have to come to a different understanding. An understanding of yourself that will allow you to see yourself differently in order to experience something different. What might be tripping you up? Paradox is a message that says the very things that you need is the very things you need to let go of let go of. In other words, if you need to have a job that says certain things about you in order to be happy, you need to release the need to have it. Why is that important? Because your need to have it is rooted in the fact that you don't have it already. So you're constantly reminding yourself what you don't have. Rather than needing something, over there to make you happy. It is about you creating that experience inside of you. Remember, you are a vibrational being. Your emotions are what attracts your experiences. So if you are looking for happiness, you have to become the happiness. If you are looking for love, you have to become that love. If you are looking for abundance, you have to become abundant inside. This is how you need to, you don't need to do anything. This is how you might want to look at your life. One of the things that you might want to look at is what it is that you are attached to for safety and security. Are you attached to certain beliefs about you that you are carrying from when you were young and you're having difficulty of letting that go? Are you attached to the idea that you are not enough? And as a result, you're always searching for something outside of you to tell you that you are more than not enough, that you are more than what you currently believe. But if this is your truth, if this is your belief, if you rely on this for your safety and security because it's familiar, then it's going to be very difficult to experience something more. I feel many of you are undergoing radical changes, and I can see there's a level of stubbornness here, which is fine. It just means the ego is trying to fight you because it's all it knows. It knows how to feel this way. It knows how to experience this. It knows how to experience that. So it knows how to run this thing called life. The moment you begin to change and shift your thinking, your behavior and emotions change, your ego starts to freak out because it doesn't know what's over there. And the funny thing is that I've experienced with my clients and with myself that feeling empowered can feel frightening at the beginning. Think about it this way. If you've always been conditioned to think that you are not enough, and then you begin to shift that belief, and then you begin to recognize that you are actually powerful and you can create your future, all of a sudden your old identity begins to tumble. That is not, I've said this to another sign, that can be a little bit uncomfortable for people. It absolutely is. And that's why they say people are not afraid of not having power. People are far more afraid of having power. Because when we feel power, all of a sudden oral conditionings, which we have been used to, which told us who we are, goes down and tumbles to nothingness. And that can be a little bit unnerving. At the end of the day, this is all about you feeling good in your own skin. It's about you feeling at home. So the question you might want to ask yourself, who am I? How do I describe myself to people? What do I continually think of myself? Do I believe I am not enough, or do I believe that I am enough? What do my experience tell me about what I believe about myself? The experiences that are in front of you that make you feel a certain way are as a result of your belief system. If you are constantly finding yourself lacking in some area of your life, ask yourself this question. What belief do I have about me that brings me this corresponding experience? Again, I'm not saying that if you are struggling with some terrible illness that you have brought this upon yourself. However, we do know, and it has been documented, proven that our thoughts and our emotions create physical imbalances. So I'll leave it at that. It is all about you feeling good in your skin. Again, this is what you want. This is what we all want. Imagine how this would feel. Imagine yourself in this picture. What would that feel like? What would that feel like? If it would feel whole, I want you to feel that inside and ask yourself, if this is what I'm after, where am I now in relation to this feeling? And then ask yourself what it is that you need to let go of in order to bring you closer to that feeling, to that emotion. So there's some work required on your part. There's no question about it. But we're all working these days. We're all working on ourselves. And I want to say this is nothing short of miracle. It's like And I could hear somebody say, what are you talking about? It's freaking hard work. Yes. But the moment we begin to see the illusion is the moment where we begin to feel like we are being born again. I'm saying it this way, and I'm hoping some of you will understand this, even though I may not make sense to some of you. You may actually go, what the hell is she talking about? It's a feeling that I've experienced on few occasions, so I know the truth of that feeling. I know the truth of that experience, and it is nothing short of miracle. Last but not least, whatever it is that you wish, in order for you to achieve it, you have to let go of the need to control it. Intend on whatever the experience is, and then let go of the when and the how. Rather, align yourself magnetically, energetically, emotionally, in order to attract this experience to you. Most people I talk with, including myself, struggle with, when is it going to happen? What is it going to look like? What am I supposed to do? Where those ideas are based on our current limited awareness. We can't have what we don't know about. Therefore, the universe may have a whole bunch of other ideas for us, but because we are not aware of that, we will dismiss it. So it is very difficult, it's challenging to let go of something that you really, really want. That's challenging, but that's key. It's key to attracting it. So it's easier in some situations than others. If you are struggling with a job that you hate, that's a very strong word. But if you are struggling with a job that you hate, I want you to first recognize the benefits of the job in your life right now. Because if you had no benefits from it, you wouldn't be there in the first place. So I want you to shift your awareness into what is working. Then I want you to imagine what it would feel like to have the job that you want. Not what it would look like, not what the job would look like, what it would feel like for you to have a job that you want. And the interesting thing is, don't focus on what the end result looks like in terms of the function. Focus on the feeling that is a result of you doing that function. And then get lost in that feeling. Remember that feeling as often as you can on everyday basis. And instead of focusing on the things you don't have, or the things that are wrong with the world, or the things that you complain about, or the things that people gossip about, rather than engaging in those frequencies, engage in feeling good about the idea of what it's going to be like when you have the job that you want. Everything we are after has an underlying corresponding emotional component. It is the emotion that we are trying to experience. It is the feeling that we are after. If we want money, it's because it's going to make us feel safe, prosperous, whatever that is. That feeling is already within us. And that can be activated at any given moment. The only thing it takes is recognition of where we are right now and what we need to shift in terms of our thinking in order to create the emotional experience. There is no happiness over there. Someone can't give you love. I can't sell love to you for $5. If you want to experience love, you first have to act being love. So how do you love yourself? How do you action being loving to yourself? Would a loving person constantly berate themselves and tell themselves that they're small and insignificant? No. A loving person to themselves would say, I am enough. And I know that because I believe I am enough, the universe will give me correspondingly. There's no way that fails. It's a foolproof equation. It's a universal law. And I think I'm going to end at that because I'm getting very passionate. And when that happens, I can go on for too long. So I'm going to leave you with that. It's, if you're feeling a little bit off, just listen to this several times and notice how it applies. Take some of the bits and pieces. Notice if you can change your thinking. Notice if you can recognize some things in your life and go, never thought about it that way. And then think about it differently. Okay? And with that said, I want to wish you a fantastic month of February. Take care of yourself. Happy Valentine's Day if you are celebrating. Be kind to you and be loving to you. When you demonstrate being loving to you in the world, the love comes to you from the world. And with that said, thank you so much. If you would like a private session with me, that information is down below. Thank you for sharing, for liking, for subscribing. If this doesn't make sense to you at the beginning of February, do listen to it later, because this is going to continue for a few months. Thank you again so much. I wish you best of luck and take care.